I want to share with you today some ideas about Kriya Shema, and especially this Shabbos, I had a very great schus to accidentally meet for the third time in a year Rav Shimon Galoi. In case you don't know who Rav Shimon Galoi is, he's, if not one of the Gedolim today, one of the up-and-coming Gedolim. But aside from that, he's a Balavoida, and he's also a mensch, really a pleasure. When he spoke in Shul Friday night, they asked him how much time he has left to speak. They said Shabbos is 8 o'clock in the morning. So, as you could get an idea about his relation to people. I asked him this question, which I actually asked him a year ago, and I just wanted to hear a little bit more in depth. He said, listen, I give so many shirim on Thank Hashem when things look bad. And last week, someone called me up, and after the phone call, I was so upset. Right? And I knew you're not supposed to get upset when something looks bad, but it's already, according to one count, it's 1,350 shirim. According to another count, it's 1,400 shirim. It's a lot of shirim. So when am I going to just not get upset? So I asked him, what's the secret? How do you do it? So he told me a story about his father. His father was, when he was in Europe, he was sent to Siberia. And everybody said, oh, Nebuch, Baloi, sent to Siberia, he's going to die. He was the only one who lived. Right? Because he was sent to Siberia, he was the only one, because it was hard, but he lived through the time of the Holocaust. Everyone else died. We can't judge things the way they look. That's what he told me. That's a secret. Learn not to judge things the way they look. Yeah? And look, easier said than done, but how do you do that? How do you change your whole perspective? When, okay, you could maybe give 1,400 shirim on Thank Hashem when something bad, but okay, it's better, but still, how do you do that? So I suggest to you the following mahalach, and I'm not going to ask you to do anything more than you're already doing, right? Which is always the best thing. Just do what you're doing and think about it a little more. We have a mitzvah every single day of Kabbalah's Malchus Shamayim. Are you familiar with this mitzvah? Right? How do we do that? Fine. How is Shema Kabbalah's Malchus Shamayim? Anybody know? Okay, and that's Kabbalah's Malchus Shamayim. But what about not getting upset when something bad happens? You're also doing that? That's part of it. Okay, it's a good answer. Right? It's a little bit holy for me, still above my pay range. But I want to tell you a story, another story. I started going to this VOD from Rav Loichter every Thursday. I highly recommend it. He's a really amazing person. One of the closest Talmidim of Rav Volba. And he said like this. He said he was once in a VOD with Rav Volba, and Rav Volba asked the following question. How many people have ever felt during Shema, you want to take your tefillin and throw them out the window? You have your tefillin at them. Do you feel like now you want to? So how many people do you think raised their hands? How many? Can you guess? Zero. Exactly, right? So said Rav Volba, you never said Kriya Shema before. You never said Kriya Shema. You never said Shema before. Right? To be a Kabbalah's Malchus Shamayim, there has to be a little bit of resistance. There has to be something that an awl, an awl, you ever seen an ox with the yoke being placed on it? It's very heavy. And the ox is not like singing and dancing. Oh, wow, great. Awl. Or, it talks about, Rav Volba talks about Ol Isha. Ol Isha, anyone who's married knows about Ol Isha. Or we could say for the women, Ol Ish. But, it's something which is difficult. And for most of us, it's pretty easy to say Shema. That's pretty easy. So where is the Kabbalah's Malchus Shamayim? That's my first question. Right? My second question is like this. Right? So there's three things here. There's Kabbalah, so we have to makabel something. There's an Ol. What's the Ol? And there's Malchus. Right? Where's the Malchus Shamayim? Okay. So all the answers are very good. And we gave them very good. I'm going to say something a little bit different, but think like this. Okay. So the thing is like this, and I think this is the secret how to fulfill Rav Galoi's words. Yeah? Right? And you can see he's really living this. He was telling a story how he was supposed to speak 2 weeks ago in Baltimore. He said, yeah, but Hashem wanted me to speak in Boston. So what happened? The plane broke down, and then it was 6 hours delayed, and the only way to get to Baltimore was through Boston. And then the plane broke down in Boston again, so I had to stay overnight because Hashem wanted me to speak in Boston. It's the yeshiva where people don't speak so often. Okay? But it's but complete simcha, no problem at all. Okay. So how do you get there? So in Shema Yisrael, we say it's Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, 6 words, right? We say Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We know Hashem Yud Kei Vav Kei is Rachamim, is mercy. Elokeinu is din, right? It's din, and Hashem is mercy. And this, I believe, is the Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim. Right? All throughout, and this is what I believe how to fulfill what Golai said. All throughout the day, we have situations like, let's say your Chabruza says something really stupid. It ever happened before? Or even worse, you do the pshat, which is like so bad just because like it fits. Yeah, whatever it might be, Or let's say, your wife asks you to do something, in the middle of saying, oh, right? You say, but it's just as easy to do at 1 o'clock. I need it right now. I can't function this. It's hard. You have to decide. It's not a simple question, right? So, but these things happen during the day which we're not happy about. Like this phone call. This phone call was so, like, I can't even begin to tell you how upsetting this phone call was, right? I don't get so upset easily, but like one of my best friends did something to me, like it was a command stab in the back. And I was like, yeah, go ahead. And this was after I lent him 100,000 shekels. Yeah, maybe that's why. But the point is like this. He paid back. The point is like this. The point is that Hashem, Elokeinu Hashem Echad. We're saying, Midas HaRachamim, Midas HaDin, Midas Rachamim, it's all one. There's no point of reacting to anything. And Rebbe would say this all the time from the Rambam in Pirush Mishnayos, 9th Parak of Brachos. The Rambam says, "L'olam yadam rogel omer tzlacha midas." Shifra tzlacha, because you don't know. It looks good. It looks bad. What's happening? Miyodea. We don't know what's going to be. It could be. I'm sure for some reason this wasn't meant to come about. What happened? Hakol tov, right? Yeah. So when a person, that's the Kabbalah's all. I'm going to go throughout the day not making any evaluative judgment on anything that happens to them. Not for good, not for bad. And this mamash a paladik azah. It's Rav Shlomo Kluger, he put out 100 Sfarim or something. They have much more, He wrote a sefer on every single parsha in Chumash. So, and that hasn't been published yet. It's hundreds of Sfarim he hasn't put out yet. But Lamaisa, he had an amazing shot here. What does it mean? L'olam ye'adam rogel omer kol ma'adav v'tov avid. What's the l'olam? So he says, even on the good, you should say kol ma'adav v'tov avid. Because who says it's really good? Right? A person should even strengthen themselves on good. And you should get to the point where it just doesn't matter. Right? Whatever happens, it might be good, it might be bad. Don't make subjective decisions. If it's good or bad, right? Objectively, everything is from Hashem. Right? And Rav Dan Segel said this once over. He said, if it happens, it's from Hashem. Now, it's true we do stupid things once in a while, right? And I can tell you myself, I do many stupid things every day, right? Just to ask my wife. But the point is that, okay, if you thought about it and you made a mistake, so we're human. We make mistakes. Chashav Yid, Adam Gadol, he told me once, you're allowed to make 5 small mistakes and 3 big mistakes every day. Right? If you need more, you can make more. You're allowed to make mistakes. It's mutter. Do you know anyone in Shulchan Aruch says you're not allowed to make a mistake? I have a proof you are allowed to make mistakes. It says, right? 7 times. I saw this farm say, you have to fall 7 times in order to get up. Number 1. Number 2 is that this guy, and you see the Gemara back and forth, Tiyufta, Kushya. So, Lamaisa, we make mistakes. Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim is, Hashem, Elokeinu Hashem Echad. It's all one. Anything that we see that is being good, it's just because that's how Hashem decided to present it to us. And anything we see is bad, it's just that's how Hashem protects us. As I said many times, the Zohar says, what looks bad is really good. And I told you this when I was training for the Olympics in my younger years. The African Americans told me an important principle. They say that's bad. The name is good. Yeah. Or if you're from England, they say, that's wicked. That's wicked. Wicked, that means really good. Wicked. Like the Wicked Witch of the West, she became a good person now. I found out I was destroyed. But that's what's going on today in the world. So the more we could do that, right? And that's the Kabbalah Malchus Shemayim. And that's where the friction is. Yeah. When you say that, right? You're going to go about the day, and no matter, it might be your wife, it might be your Kruz, it might be Rosh Koilel, that's the worst. Yeah. Anybody, right? What anybody does or says or what happens, say about it. Yeah. And especially like if you have a multi-million billion-dollar deal and you worked hundreds of hours on it. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? And then the guy says, sorry, no, right? We don't get upset at all. Because why? Because it's good. Yeah. And as Rav Tzvi and I have spoken many times, the Ishtadlus doesn't mean anything. The Ishtadlus has nothing to do with your success or not. right? It's a t'nai, as Yaakov told me many times. Hishtadlus is a t'nai to make it look like it's coming from Hashem, from you and not from Hashem, to give people free choice. But the hishtadlus has absolutely nothing to do with whether they get a parnas or not, right? I was in Lawrence, right? I was actually on the street where Svi lives, right? Muriel, right? I was on Muriel Street. I had just called 20 people, got to 20 houses. Right? Every single possible child is possible to do in Lawrence with the white thoughts. Yeah. I was like, Sunday morning, like a few hours passed. I'm sitting in the car, like trying to figure out what to do. A guy comes up to me from one of the Muriel houses. He was visiting. It wasn't even, his parents live there. And he said, "Are you Rabbi Travis?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Did you give that chair on Turning Time Rabbi Bradley?" Yes. So he says, "That was a great chair." He takes out a check and writes a massive check to me. And I'm like, I don't understand. I just, like, I want to take out a white flag and just wave the flag, Or what happened the day before that experience is I was shower brachos by Rav Kayla Shul. I washed, I think. Someone invited me for lunch. I get to my house, I knock on the door. There's no answer. I'm like, that's weird. They invited me for lunch. I do it again. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm in the middle of a Suda. And it's too far to go back. Like, what am I going to do? I went 3 houses down with a friend of mine. I knocked on the door. I said, "We don't take mishlochim on Shabbos." I said, I just need a place to eat. I walk in. The guy says, "This is unbelievable. A minute ago, I said, the next person who walks in, the next person I meet with an important need, I'm going to give him $20,000 because I'm going through Big Sur now." Like, imagine knocking on the door and thinking, this is so strange. And but really Hashem is setting me up to get, $20,000. So look, the point of this is that there's objective reality and objective things going on, and that's Malchus. Malchus, the Gra says, the difference between Malchus and Memshala, right? In Israel, we have Memshala, right? Memshala. Memshala means without the rots of the people, without the will. No? So I'm not. What Malchus means that they accepted it, right? We willingly accept that whatever Hashem does, that's fine. Hashem comes to Avram Avinu one morning. He says, hey, they're on first name basis. He says, Avram, you just take your son who you waited 100 years for, the one I said is going to be the progenitor of Klal Yisrael, and just kill him, put him on a mountain. And so Avram says, no problem, go. Where do I go? How can you do that? Right. So the Rambam in Perek Yod, which I think is the most important Perek of the whole Rambam, Perek Yod of Hilchos Tshuva, he writes there, Avos Hashem, Avram Oyevi, you have complete love of Hashem, you're totally mevatel your understanding of Hashem. If you do that, then you can just, and it's an incredible Rashi this week's Parsha, last week's Parsha, Balak. Rashi says to Bilam, he says, you got Avram Limor, it's not a big deal, Avram already did it. It's a paralytic Rashi. Avram did it. So Bilam did it. What's it mean? Like Avram made a patent on getting up early? So the pshat is like this, and it's a very almost thing here. They're both going the same thing. They both were going to destroy Klal Yisrael. Bilam was going to destroy Klal Yisrael. I'm going to destroy Klal Yisrael. Because Klal Yitzhak is effectively ending the Jewish people. But Avram Avinu was doing it Lishma. He was doing it L'Shem Shemayim, and he was doing it because of Tzivay Hashem. And you could even destroy Klal Yisrael and be doing Ratzon Hashem and do it with complete Ava. Yeah. And even when the Malach came and told him to stop, Avram said, maybe just a drop of blood I could do just so Hashem. Because he was so attached to Hashem's Rose. So Lamaisa, Advar Mamukim, but it's not so amuk really. I'm saying a very simple thing. Every morning when you say Shema, which you're doing anyway, right? Just think, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. When you say those 4 names, right? Hashem Rachamim, Elokeinu Din, Hashem Rachamim, and it's all one. That's it. And that's the Baal. It should be a little bit hard, right? I'm not telling you to throw your tefillin out the window, right? Rav Volba didn't say you should actually throw them out the window. So you should feel like you want to throw them out the window, right? But Lamaisa, there should be some friction. It should be difficult. It should be like, this is an avoda. If you don't feel like it's an avoda, then you're probably not doing it right. And my friend of mine told me this voice that Elokeinu means that even Din, Elokeinu, he's with us. It's judging Hashem because he's our God and he's going to be nice to us, hopefully, even though we don't deserve it. So that's what I want to tell you this morning. And it's really worth working on. Yeah. And the more this becomes just like status quo by you, the happier life is going to be because nothing can upset you. And believe me, Svi could tell you, right? We talk about these things together. A lot of things can happen to upset you, no? Am I right? Especially like when you're dealing with people, and you ask people for things, or maybe you're trying to land a big deal or something, and you spend hundreds of hours and then klum, right? Or, a donation or something like that. Whatever it might be, life can be frustrating. But Hashem does that, we said, and we'll finish with this word, the Zohar says, because he doesn't want, what is it called? He doesn't want fair weather friends. He wants real love. And real love comes if you're really willing to accept when it's difficult. And that's Shema Yisrael. That's Kabbalah's all Mal Shemaim. The Kabbalah is that whether it's Rachamim, whether I see Din, it's all one. I'm not going to make subjective decisions based on the way I understand things because we don't understand anything. And that's pretty clear. Whoever doesn't understand that doesn't really understand anything. Hashem should help us, give us tremendous yad shmaya to accomplish this, and especially to Svi Menachem ben Rezel. You should have bracha tzlachas yad shmaya for parnasa, shalom bayis, health, chinuch yiladim. All children should get shidduchim quickly, and b'toch shar am Yisrael. We should be zochasi the gula b'kar b'mein tiratzon.